Hello, friends. I welcome you all to yet another interesting session on fundamental analysis with me, Sarthak Shah. I am pleased to know that you all are loving my work and all your appreciation in the form of messages, likes, and comments are giving me a lot of motivation to work harder and better. Also, your key inputs and suggestions to make my work better are considered, and I am working on it. I would like to thank all my viewers for your ideas, inputs, and suggestions. So let's learn, nurture, and grow to the best we can. Before starting today's session, I would like to share that if you had missed my previous video, I suggest please go and watch it as the concepts we are learning in fundamental analysis are interconnected. You can find the link of the previous video in the description box below. Before starting today's concepts, let's have a recap of what we had studied last. We had touched upon topics like market price of shares, number of shares, market capitalization, EPS, PE ratio, and its interpretation. I have received some comments that we have not understood the interpretation of PE ratio fully. So, I thought to explain once again the interpretation of PE ratio by taking some simple examples. Let us first take a small recap of PE ratio. PE ratio means market price per share divided by earnings per share. Not getting into the deeper meaning of EPS, let us understand PE ratio with the help of some simple examples. Suppose you are getting PE ratio of 70, then what does it indicate? In simple words, after spending 70 rupees, you will be able to earn 1 rupee. So it is clear that if PE ratio is less, means we are required to spend less to earn 1 rupee, which is a good sign. Thus, it is said that if PE ratio is less, means the stock is undervalued, we can buy it. But if PE ratio is more, means the stock is overvalued and we can wait for the correction. But as discussed in the previous video, that it is not that simple as it looks, because if it was so, then no one would be buying any stocks whose PE is more. So friends, if PE of any stocks is high, then you need to ask yourself that why it is so. Let us take another example. We all have been eating biscuits, right? Some biscuits cost 5 rupees, some 10 rupees, some 20 rupees, and some even more. Ever wondered why we all are not buying biscuits which cost 5 rupees and why some of them are buying biscuits costing 20 rupees or more? At last, they are biscuits only. What attracts a consumer is its features. It is possible that biscuits costing 20 rupees are sugar coated or cream filled biscuits, which makes them expensive, while the cheaper 5 rupees biscuits can be the plain glucose biscuits. Here, what differentiates biscuits is its features, and this is what we need to understand. Similarly, if we take the example of a car, let us take Tata Nano. It is the car which costs around 1 lakh to 2 lakh, and on the other side, we can take Tata Jaguar, which costs around 1 to 2 crore. Then why is there such a huge difference in its cost? Friends, difference is due to its quality. It works similarly in stocks also. If PE ratio is more, it doesn't always mean that it is expensive and we need to stay away. But it might be possible that it is so because of its quality. It is possible that even if the whole market collapses around 30 to 40%, but still that stock will collapse only 2 to 3%. Thus, then buying a stocks even with the higher PE ratio is worth the cost. So, in the nutshell, I would say that just to earn 1 rupee, if it is required to spend more, then do not neglect it directly. Just ask yourself that is it worth spending or not. Hope with these simple examples we understood the concepts of PE interpretation. Now, let's move forward and try to understand another important ratio just like PE ratio, which is called P by B ratio. P by B ratio means price to book value. Wondering what is the new term book value and how it is derived, what does it accounts for, etc. etc. Don't worry friends, I will explain it to you. Book value is basically the total net worth of the company's assets, which includes buildings, plants, equipments, their manufacturing supplies, etc. So, book value indicates that if today the company gets sold out, then this is the amount of money which each shareholder will get theoretically. Consider Tata Motors as an instance. Here, once again, I would like to disclose that any companies talked about in the videos are solely for education purpose and thus should not be considered as recommendations in any direct or indirect manner. So here, as you can see, the book value of Tata Motors is 169.16 rupees. So this indicates that if today the owner of Tata Motors sell off their entire business, then each shareholder will get 169 rupees against the current price of 87 rupees. But theoretically, because in practical life it doesn't work like this. Because practically when company tries to sell off their assets in the open market, it neither receives its expected amount nor it happens so quickly and smoothly. But for understanding the concept, we can use it as I mentioned. So this was all about the book value, and when we divide the share price by this book value, we get P by B ratio. So in the case of Tata Motors, the price to book value is 0.52. This 0.52 looks very cheap, but there are two factors which comes into the picture. This P by B ratio doesn't work for every industry. It only works for heavy industries and also for capital incentive industries like banks, power, cement, steel, etc. Now you must be wondering why is it so? So take for instance another example as TCS. You all might be aware about this company, right? TCS. So I have chosen this company. Here, as you can see, the book value is 224 rupees and current price is 1950, which ideally takes price to book value as 8.70. So here P by B is 8.7, whereas in the case of Tata Motors it was just around 0.5. So you will think it is too expensive. But as I discussed, book value only consists of assets which you can touch and feel. And TCS works in the IT industry, and according to its business model, it has more number of employees. And according to the concepts of accounting, employees are not considered as assets, but they are considered as expenses because they pay salary to their employees. And as per their revenue model, they don't require hardcore assets much. So their book value, like all other IT companies, will remain always low. Hope this clear the concept of price to book value ratio. Moving ahead, let us understand two important concepts, standalone and consolidated. We will try to comprehend the concept with the help of a simple illustration. Suppose you have started a business and it is earning you a good profit for say 2 to 3 years. So these earnings which are developed from your business is known as standalone. Now in same situation, say after 5 to 6 years, you have a good amount of earnings from your business, but this time you decide to park a chunk of your earnings into your friend's business in order to say 20 to 30% partnership. So now what you are earning from your business plus what you will get from your friend's business in total is known as consolidated. This means your business income plus the income from your investments in total gives you consolidated figures. Let me show how these figures look like in financials. Consider an example of L&T Limited. There are many subsidiaries of L&T Limited like L&T Technology Services, L&T Infotech, L&T Infrastructure and Development Projects, L&T Finance, L&T Housing Finance, and also L&T Mutual Fund Trustee, etc. When you sum up all the revenues from these investments, we get consolidated figures of L&T Limited. So let us look at the sales figures. As you can see here, these figures are standalone and also in crores. So let us take sales figures of March 2019. It is around 87,000 crore. And by clicking on view consolidated, we will get consolidated figures. You can see the consolidated figures change to 1,41,000 crore. So this is the difference between standalone and consolidated. And while investing, you should always look at consolidated figures. To sum up, we had talked once again about the interpretation of PE ratio by taking simple illustrations so that you don't find it difficult to interpret the PE ratio. Then we talked about the P by B ratio, which is quite similar to PE ratio, and also in which industries does it works. And at last, we have seen about the consolidated and standalone figures. If you have faced any difficulties in understanding any of the topics I took in today's session, then please do comment so that I can solve it in next video just like I did it today. And if you have liked my today's video, please share it with your friends and family members so that they can also learn and earn wisely. And also do subscribe to my channel so that you never miss any of my videos. That's all from my end. I, Sarthak Shah, signing off for today. Bye.